The doctors gave him 2 to 5 years, and they said it was going to be very tough on us, and it was going to be horrible.
When JT Borofka was first diagnosed at the age of about 6 months, it was hard to grasp what was going to happen. Here you have this baby, happy and healthy to the eye. How can you imagine that something so precious and normal isn't going to stay that way forever?
I'm Tara Borofka. I'm JT Borofka's mommy.
And I'm Jason Borofka, JT Borofka's dad. And this is JT Borofka.
Rare is extremely rare. I mean, you can't even say it's a 1 in a million thing. It's a 1 in 500 million.
It's so rare that there is only, as far as we know, there's just a little over 60 cases ever reported in the history of medical science. Right now, I think he's 1 of 5 in the US. He is deficient in TPI, and everybody has TPI in their body to survive. It's basically how processed sugars in the body, and his TPI levels are extremely low.
It might not sound like a big deal when your body can't break down sugars, but when one function of your body is not able to do something, it affects everything else. For him, it comes, down to his muscles being weak because he can't process food. His lungs and his diaphragm completely stop working because this disease can affect so many body parts just from not being able to break down sugar.
When JT was first born, he was a normal, happy, healthy baby to the eye. You couldn't tell anything. He was a bundle of joy, a little chubby, happy, bouncy baby.
We were seeing his pediatrician
His
at 2 month checkup, and she noticed he was kind of pale. She did a test and noticed his hemoglobin level was extremely low, and it was dangerous, so we need to go to Stanford Hospital. We went up 2 days later, and we were waiting for test results from the blood test that Stanford took. When they came up on the computer, she was like, oh my God, he needs a blood transfusion immediately. And next thing we know, we're in the hospital. They were scrambling to figure out what's wrong with him. I remember there was a counselor with him, and I just knew right there something was wrong. And he basically said, JT has 2 to 5 years to live, and there's no cure. There's nothing we can do. It was about as tough as you can imagine.
When they tell you your kid has 2 to 5 years, and he looks perfectly normal, and you know he's going to be normal, and they're telling you he's going to be normal up until this one point, and then all of a sudden he's going to be paralyzed and breathing through a tube and won't be able to move. That's like the scariest thing in the world.
And then that's exactly what happened to JT. Right after his first birthday, he got a really extremely bad stomach virus. And from that day on, everything went downhill.
That stomach virus, it just knocked him on his little diaper butt, and next thing you know, his diaphragm's not working, and he's like running a marathon every day, because if your diaphragm's not moving, you're breathing with just your lungs. And it was a lot of work for him.
Seeing him plugged into all of these wires and these monitors, it made things more real, and it made it more scary. I can't imagine what Jason and Tara were going through during that time.
2,662 miles. That is exactly how far the Borofka family traveled from Salinas, California to right here at the University of Pittsburgh in Oakland. And they did it because what's happening inside of the walls here of Biomedical Science Tower number 3 is the only shot they have at life for their 11-month-old son, JT.
Now we have hope. Dr. Mike Palladino and his team and the University of Pittsburgh, they're gonna find some answers for us, and that gives us a lot of hope. A lot of hope.
Mike Palladino is the only researcher studying TPI in the entire world, and we're just very blessed that he's in the US. We felt so good. I felt
relief knowing that somebody kind of had answers.
We know at a very molecular level what's wrong, and we know what kinds of drugs should work. So we have some direction in our research. It gives us all a lot of hope that we can get there and not just get there for TPI deficiency, but get there in time for JT. We've always wanted to cure this disease, but meeting a patient, especially one this young and adorable, it's really quite motivating.
So there are a lot of challenges, funding being one of them. There's no foundations for this particular disease. With so few patients in this country, all this work needs to be done privately. It's hard to find pharmaceutical companies to partner with, which is often how some of the safety studies and toxicity studies are often paid for, is through partnerships with pharmaceutical companies. I think it's important to let people know about rare disease research, educate the community as to how complicated it is. I mean, kids are dying of not just this disease, but hundreds of other diseases that are too rare for a drug company to get involved. There's just never going to be a profit margin in treatment for a disease that has so few patients.
%100% of the money is going to JT, and we are funding a lab in Pittsburgh, and that's where we're sending all the money, and that's going to ultimately find the cure to save our son.
The first fundraiser was at Angelina's Pizzeria. It was a pizza place fundraiser. We had May 4th. We had donations and all set up. We were expecting some people to show up, but we didn't know the amount of people that were going to show up to this. And we were expecting hopefully to make $5,000. I think we ended up with like 30,000. We had like 1,200 to 1,500 people showed up at that pizza place. It has been completely unbelievable how many people have stepped up for our kid. I mean, I can't believe it. Like it's in the thousands. I have people saying they're going to throw fundraisers all over the U.S. I mean, everywhere. Like it was insane. We were on a roll coming out of the wintertime, ready for our spring events and fundraising for JT. And then COVID showed up, and it was just unbelievable. Everything just shut down. I remember canceling the big golf tournament we had for him. We had everything lined up. We had celebrities. It was just amazing. And it was going to be a big fundraiser for the lab. The day that really hit us was when I was afraid to call the lab, but they called us and basically they told us that there's no one working in there right now and there's nothing. And at that point we realized that the hope was just all of a sudden ripped away from us.
They were working with about 20 staff members in the lab, and once the pandemic hit in March, they had to scale completely back to about 3 people, and that really limited their research. So in mid-May, thankfully, they were able to open back up to about 50% of their staff, so they are working, they're dedicated towards this.
We can't get those months back that we lost. We found ourselves in the hospital realizing that he was gonna have to be breathing through a tube and eating through a tube, and he won't ever be able to talk. He did get to say mom, but I never got to really hear him say dad, and that was it. Now he's just how he is now. And every day is like a year for him. He needs help now.
When the pandemic hit, it was very isolating, and for JT's second birthday, they had a drive-by birthday parade. We showed up and we were early, so there wasn't a lot of people there, but by the time the parade started, man, there were cars driving by, honking their horns with signs, bringing by gifts.
Happy birthday, JT!
It was a fun day. JT did fabulous, and having our local community there to support and the KSBW News to follow him and share his birthday with everybody. We felt lucky to be able to have him and let people see him. So many family members had not seen him for months.
It was so fun, and it was the biggest reminder of, wow, the community loves JT. Nobody has forgotten about JT. This family is so loved and cared for by this community. For Jason and Tara, I believe it's a sign of hope. It's a sign of love, and it's a sign of diligence that they have to their son and their commitment they have to JT.
I love my wife, and I know she loves me, and I know, nothing's going to happen between us. We're going to be there for each other. We always have been before JT. We've been together forever. We have a lot of friends that are really close, and they'll do anything for us, and they're always there, and they're not afraid to give us a call even in the toughest times and support us. And then there's JT. He's so cute. He's just like, he's a handsome dude. Even when he's having a tough time, he can snap back around and smile and laugh or something.
He's our strength. He keeps us going every day because he reminds us that we have to be strong, and We have to get through this. Families are always going to have challenges going ups and downs, and dealing with a sick child is probably the hardest thing you will ever have to do.
I've gotten to know Jason and Tara very well, and I feel for them. This is a painful disease, and they're always very gracious that my lab working on this gives them a glimmer of hope, and that means a lot to me. But in the end, I know the sheer amount of work and good fortune that must happen in order for all the stars to align to find a treatment in time. And all I can promise them, which I have, is that we're going to continue to work as hard as we can every day. And we're confident that we know enough about this disease that it can be cured. It just takes time, and all we can do is work as hard as we can every day.
JT Borofka is a rock star. He's been through so much since the age of just 6 months. Kids his age are learning to walk, to play, to speak, and he's been in and out of hospitals. The love that exuberates from the Borofka family is truly incredible. Just watching them as a family just work as a unit and stay so positive during this time. They're just such loving people, and I really admire them. And I'm so grateful that I get to be part of their life in a really unique way. JT is a bubble of light. The family, they just have this energy of love and positivity during a dark time, and it's really inspiring.